All right, welcome everyone to our final July monthly setup. We had 4 this month for the month of July, and this is the last one. I think I did the first one, and now I've bookended it, doing the last one here. My name is Maya, and I am coming to you from Aurora, Colorado, which is Aurora's a suburb of Denver. And it was a lovely day today in the 80s, not super hot. It was a little cloudy, had a few little sprinkles. So it was a much better summer day than some of our 90+ degree days that we were having where it was a scorcher. And I know lots of folks are dealing with some pretty intense heat. So hopefully everyone is in a nice, cool place, ready to spend an hour and 15 minutes setting up their July journal. So our monthly setups are an hour and 15 minutes. Our other socials are an hour. So just so you know, we have a little bit of extra time, but it still goes by really fast. But if you have to leave for some reason, like, don't worry. You don't have to like raise your hand and get a note. It's okay. We do record these socials and post them on a special YouTube playlist, which Jennifer will share with you at the end. Speaking of Jennifer, Jennifer is here with us. She is keeping an eye on the chat. She's helping me out. She is coming to you from Texas, where it's probably hotter than 80 degrees. Um, so she will be keeping an eye. If you need anything, have any questions, just let her know, because I try to keep an eye on the chat, but sometimes it gets rolling pretty fast. So speaking of that, if you like to participate in the chat, you're absolutely free to do so. If the chat kind of drives you nuts and you're mostly working on your journal and kind of nose in journal, you can do that. If you're doing a little mix between the two, this is totally your time to set up your journal. So do what you need to do, which is also a reason we have multiple sessions, so that sometimes people will come to the first one and they set up part of their journal, and then they'll come to another one and they'll spend some more time in the chat. The chat really has what we call gold in it, because we have so many great Sonder family members who have so many fabulous ideas for different ways to do that. Georgette, thanks for the shout out there to awesome facilitators. And so this is, we can't see you. You don't have your cameras on. We can hear you. You don't have your microphones on, and we've got all that muted. So it's not like you could accidentally even turn it on if you tried. So no worries about that. So if you've got little ones running around or your little furry ones running around, not a problem at all. Make sure that you set that Zoom chat, that little blue box, to everyone. And Zoom is really obnoxious, especially if you are on a cell phone, because it will keep popping back to the host and panelist. And if that happens, the only people who see it are myself and Jennifer. So just so you know, if you ask a question and Jennifer and I are the only ones who seem to answer, it's because we're the only ones who can see it. And we'll try to remind you to change that. So let us also look, speaking of some housekeeping tips, these are our community guidelines. We work really hard to make sure that this is a safe and supportive space for all of our members. So we just ask that you're kind and courteous to both yourself and to others. No promotions or spam. We respect everyone's privacy. No hate speech or bullying. Limiting those repetitive product and accessory questions. If you want to ask about pens or stickers or washi tape, those kinds of things, it's not a huge problem, but we're trying to keep the distractions a little bit to a minimum while we focus on our journal. Best place to ask those questions is in Sonder Club in our app, because that way you can get lots of links from lots of different people for where they get things. And if you have any customer care inquiries, so address change, subscription, billing, you haven't gotten your July journal yet, any of those kinds of things. You got your July journal, but it was all mangled in the mail, right? Email hello@silkandsonder.com. They can help you out. Just keep in mind that they are Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 operation, and they're on the Pacific coast, so they're in Pacific time. So sometimes it might take a little bit for them to get back to you, but they will help you out. Jennifer and I don't have access to your accounts. I couldn't look you up if I tried. So they're the ones that you want to check with if you're having any issues. And then ultimately, remember, these socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of our fabulous, wonderful, supportive community. but ultimately you are responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. So if we're ever working on something that's not your jam, kind of not feeling it, you can skip ahead. You can work on the coloring page. You can do anything else that you would like. If I'm not your jam, right, you don't like to listen to my voice, you can mute me, and there's a closed captioning will pop up so you can still see what I'm saying. Maybe you don't like the music that I play while we're working on different pages, you can mute that as well, right? Totally, this is for you to do what you need to do for yourself. Also, I noticed Jennifer popped in the chat a calendar link, a Google Calendar link that you can use if you're having trouble sometimes getting the email. We have a lot of issues with Eventbrite. Sometimes it's a little frustrating. We try to get those emails out to folks to join, but sometimes it doesn't happen. So we've been trying to post the link about 30 minutes before the social starts in Sonder Club. And then we also have Google Calendar and an Apple Calendar that you can do. There's also the website that you can go to. So lots of different ways for you to get that. And I apologize if anybody, I know that can feel kind of stressful when you're trying to get in. So I apologize for that, and hopefully things will smooth out just a little bit, right? So the other thing I do want to mention is if you are on your phone, Zoom has done some weird updates, and so you can't click on the link that Jennifer puts into the chat. You should be able to if you're on your like a laptop or a desktop, but just know that that'll happen. So you might want to take a screenshot so you can get to that link, or you can post a question in Sonder Club and we can get you a link in there as well, right? So pretty excited about this month's theme of curiosity. It's definitely a fun, I think it's a fun summer theme because there's lots of things to be curious about in the summer, right? And I love this quote from Roald Dahl about, he says, above all, watch with glittering eyes the whole world around you, because the greatest secrets are always hidden in the most unlikely places. Those who don't believe in magic will never find it. And I love this idea of watching with glittering eyes, right? That just seems very kind of fun and magical. And the greatest secrets are always hidden in the most unlikely places. So this is your month to look in those unlikely places for different glimmers, right? We've talked about in socials before the idea of a glimmer, where it's the opposite of a trigger. A glimmer is something that happens that day that makes you smile. And I will tell you mine. I was telling Jennifer, close your ears if you're trying to save money. Because I went to Joann's today to get some yarn to finish. I make little preemie hats for preemies in the NICU when they graduate from the NICU. There's little hats and they have kind of little, I make knit little mortar boards and a little tassel. It's super cute. So I had to get some more yarn for that. But the Happy Planner stickers, there was a whole bunch of Happy Planner stickers on clearance. You probably can't see it because my screen will blur, but I got one that is all Alice in Wonderland, which totally fits with the theme of curiosity. I got one that was villains and one that was the Disney princesses, because I do love me some Disney. So just so you know, Joann's had some fun Happy Planner stickers. So that was my glimmer of the day, right? And somebody had asked about this quote. I don't think this quote is in our journal, but honestly, I don't know because I haven't looked into all the quotes. So maybe it is there and I don't know. I just happened to find it as I was kind of looking around for some fun quotes. So yeah, I see people saying I have a million Happy Planner sticker books. I can't know this information. Sorry, Marley. There's a bunch of stuff on clearance. So the one thing I like to always point out to everybody is that there is a letter every month on page 2 from our founder Meha, and she gives us kind of her thoughts as to what she thinks about this month's theme, and it's kind of like a little peek into her personality, right? It's a fun little way to kind of take a look and see. So just a couple things that I wanted to kind of point out from this letter is she talks about curiosity is like a secret garden we hold within ourselves. And I love this idea of curiosity is kind of ours, right? It's our ability to be curious within our mind, within ourselves. It's the secret garden. It's the cure for boredom, right? It gives us a diversity in thought and perspective. Love the idea of being curious and getting some other ideas for how people see things, right? And it can lead to discoveries, opens doors, and amplifies your life. So I love, love, love that idea. And then I also liked the quote I found up at the top that says, "The mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be kindled." And I think to me, curiosity really is that kindling of the fire in our minds, which I feel bad about talking about like a fire and like the fire pit or something because it's been so hot for everybody. They're like, "Ah, I don't want to sit around a fire pit." But anyway, so if you haven't had a chance to read her letter, be sure that you do that, right? Um, then our agenda for today, we're going to do a little opening activity. We're going to reflect on the month of June. We're going to set our intentions for the month of July, work on our mood tracker, and work on our habit tracker. So that's kind of what we're going to do. And I always use these little two cartoons if you've been with me for socials before, because they emphasize a couple points that I want to make. And this is by the artist, The Latest Kate. And if you Google her, The Latest Kate, you will find all sorts of fun little pictures and books and those kinds of things. But the one with the little kittens in the left-hand corner says, "There's room for you here just as you are." So if things are going great, you're, rocking and rolling, you've had a great month, you got a promotion, things are just really going well and you want to share all these things that are going well, absolutely share those. We love, love, love to celebrate with our members. Conversely, life is not a series of ups all the time, right? There's those downs, there's those bumps, there's those frustrating moments. And so share those with us as well. A lot of times just being able to kind of do a little dump of kind of venting of kind of what's going wrong, asking for some suggestions if you're having some issues. The Sonder fam is here to support you in that. So don't ever feel like you're being too positive or too negative. Share it all. We are here for all of that. And then also the way you feel matters, and no emotion you feel is bad or unworthy. Nobody can tell you you shouldn't be sad about something, or you should be happy about this, or you shouldn't be mad at this, right? Our feelings are our feelings, and that's just kind of how they are. So don't ever feel like you can't share kind of different feelings and those kinds of things, right? So believe it or not, and again, if you've been with us for a while, we've been doing the acrostic poem for the monthly social setups, and they haven't been in the journal, right? You've had to use a blank page. But this month on page 19, we have the curiosity acrostic poem is there. And so, I will warn you, it will not be there every month. So don't don't get used to it, but just know that this is it's every so often they'll throw that into the month, but we like to do this in the monthly because it helps us kind of dig into that theme and get kind of going and thinking about that. So what you're going to do is you're going to think about what are some things that come to your mind when you think of the word curiosity. Don't second guess yourself, just write down the different things that come to your mind. So you might want to use some scratch paper or a post-it note or something as you're kind of jotting things down. Try to come up with at least 9 words or phrases that describe what curiosity mean to you, and then see if you can work it into a poem where the first letter of each line is a letter from the word curiosity. You could do sentences, one word, sets of words for each line, etc. You could also use that letter. It doesn't have to start the word. It could be somewhere in the word if you kind of want to write it out like I have the kind of like the little crossword look there. So this is what it looks like on page 19. And I love the quote of "Curiosity is one of the great secrets of happiness." And just kind of there's a little word art there. I do like to mention to people, especially if you're new, to make sure to take some screenshots, or you can always just be old school. If you got your phone and you're on your computer, you can just take a picture of some of the slides if you want to remember some of these things for later when you're working on it. So here's some examples that I found just kind of going online and doing some AI generation, right? So you can do just one word, like the one in the middle where it says "clever unveils realms in ongoing search in the yonder," right? Curiosity. You can do just a short version of the word. You can just say "curious," right? If you want to make it a little bit shorter. Again, you can have one word, you can have sentences. And then I loved the quote by Albert Einstein: "I have no special talents. I am only passionately curious." I love that idea of being passionately curious. So here's some examples from our Sonder fam, different ways, different things that they've done. You can see that one up in the top right, how they've kind of made sentences, but then they've used that letter in different parts of the word to form that. You can see mine down in the bottom right, where I've got a bunch of Alice in Wonderland stickers. This was before I even got the fun Happy Planner stickers. I have a lot of Alice in Wonderland stickers. Um, and then, remember, if you've got a lot of stickers, you want to use them so they can fulfill their sticker destiny. You don't want them just sitting in a drawer. Again, so these are just some different fun ways, fun things that people have done for that. So I'm going to play a little bit of music, let you work on this, and then we'll check back in. Feel free to share your acrostic poem with us if you would like in the chat, and we'll check back in here in just a few moments. All right, Carly, I love that you said curiosity is the fountain of youth. Absolutely, right? Being curious about things, being curious about why people do things or say things or what someone's doing or why something works that way. I'm always curious about different things. Not that I necessarily investigate them, right? Like, but it is kind of interesting, just this idea of I loved seeing everyone's, this idea of thirsting for knowledge and imagination setting you free, taking time to observe. I saw a lot of people were talking about books or reading, open-ended questions. Love that idea. Open heart, open doors, this idea of being open. Um, let's see, catching ideas, using my brain, raising questions. I explore out in the world, sitting quietly. I storm new queries to investigate yearning new knowledge. These are amazing. So if you would like, please feel free to share in Sonder Club. People really, really like them. And I will say I was inspired for mine with some of the words that someone had written in the first social. They had the removing all imaginary obstacles. And I loved that idea, right? We all have set up those imaginary obstacles, those limiting beliefs kinds of things. And so this idea of curiosity can help us push beyond that, right? So thank you all so much for sharing. I love to see how creative folks are. And again, it can be just one word, it can be strings. You can keep working on it all month if you want to keep tweaking it. Like it's a great way to really dig into that theme of curiosity. Such fantastic work. You should all be very proud of your fabulous work there, your curiosity poems. So let's jump into our monthly planner. We are going to start out with our June reflections. Yeah, Chris, we're glad you joined us. We just finished doing the acrostic poem on page 19, but we are getting ready to dive into the setup on page 8, doing those June reflections. So we always like to give ourselves a little bit of time to think about this month that has just gone by and think about what have we done, right? What has happened? Because if you're like me and you're constantly running from one thing to another, it can be really easy for things to blur together, for you to forget that things that you accomplished, different things that happen. So this is just that time for us to kind of settle in and think about what happened in June. So we give you some categories where you're talking about the wins, challenges, favorite moments, and then what do I want to start, stop, and continue. So this is what page 8 looks like, right? And those wins are something that you did. It made you smile. It made you happy. Maybe it was an accomplishment. I always try to keep track of if I finished any knitting projects, and I did finish. I started and finished a cowl in the month of June. Finished some baby hats, right? So it's always kind of nice to see what did I finish, what did I get done in June. Challenges are maybe something that didn't go quite right, something out of your control, stumbling block, something that's frustrating. I think I was telling you we got a new superintendent last year. And so he's been here for a year and now he's decided he wants to do like a big reorganization of all the departments, which I mean, I've been there for 15 years, so this kind of thing happens, but it's a little frustrating. It's definitely out of my control, right? But it's definitely something I kind of write down just to kind of keep track of. And then those favorite moments, sometimes they overlap the wins. Sometimes they can just be things like my sisters were all in town. I have 4 younger sisters and they were all in town this last week because it was mine and the youngest sister's birthday in June. And so we kind of did a birthday celebration and we had a game night. And it was really fun. We were playing Uno and Yahtzee and it was very fun. So those favorite moments can be anything, having coffee with a friend, finding stickers on clearance at Joann's, right? Those kinds of things. So they could be some of your rosebud thorns from your weekly spread. If you've been with us, if you were here with us in June, you could go back and look in your June journal. If you have those weekly rosebud and thorns, those can kind of help jog your memory. You might also want to use your phone to review your calendar and photos from the last month. I am always surprised when I'm going back through my camera roll. Like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh yeah, I forgot we did that. Oh yeah, I forgot we went there. So it's always kind of a fun thing to go back through. It's also a good time to maybe delete some of those extra pictures that you don't need anymore, right? And then we have this start, stop, and continue. So you want to start those things, maybe things that aren't being done, things you want to maybe do to get better results. Maybe you want to experiment, try something out, or experiment with something. Things that you want to stop are things that maybe they're not working, they're not helping. They served a purpose at one time, but not really so much anymore. Um, Maybe there are things that aren't delivering those desired results, things you dislike, things that no longer serve you. And you want to continue those things that have been working well, things you want to keep, things you want to keep doing to see if they're worthwhile. Maybe you like them or you need them, right? So here are some examples of some different things that folks have done. Kind of again, it's just kind of this is your kind of brain dump from the month as you're kind of thinking, going through that camera roll, looking at your calendar, looking at last month's journal, just kind of seeing what kinds of things happened, and then looking at that start, stop, and continue. And these start, stop, and continues can be really, really helpful when you go to set your intentions. Oh, Chris says the one on the right is hers. Thank you for sharing. These are all real live Sonder fam people taken from the pages of the Sonder Club app. So these are not AI generated, right? These are all HI, human intelligence generated. That's what I always say. Need a little less AI, a little more HI. Here's some other examples of things that people have done on the start, stop, and continue, right? Just some other examples of what that can kind of look like. So I am going to, I think that was the last one. Yep. So I am going to let you think about that, journal that. If you want to share in the chat, you absolutely can. And then we'll check back in here in just a few months. All right. Nice job spending some time really thinking about that. And I loved folks who were saying, now I'm kind of scrolling through, India said, that I'll feel completely non-winning and then go back and see all of my ta-das, right? So ta-das are something some people keep track of instead of their to-dos. And it's all those things they did, like, ta-da, I did this thing. And it's like we really do a lot more than we think, right? Our brain tends to kind of gloss over things kind of mush together from week to week. And you go back and you look and you're like, oh wow, like I got a lot accomplished this month. So don't ever skip the chance to do this, even if you don't come to a monthly setup social. And we do it every week too in the weekly setups where we have you look back at the week. And it can just be so valuable just to see those things that you did, really kind of knowing, what happened, what kinds of things that you want to remember. Plus, again, these are really nice. I don't know if everybody saves their journals. Or I think I'm getting a little too many because this actually is my fourth anniversary is today actually, I think. The month of July is when I started getting Silk and Sonder 4 years ago. And so that's a lot of journals. And I'm thinking what I might do is scan some of them so that I can start recycling some, or maybe keeping some of the pages where I did a lot of work, but otherwise it starts to take up a lot of space. But it's very nice to be able to go back at the end of the year, because I know in December, and it's either December or January, we probably will have one of those year in review socials where we have you kind of reflect on the whole year of 2024. So if you've got these, you can always kind of spend some time digging in. So that's always very, very helpful. So let's move on then. Now you've done a little reflecting. Maybe you have some ideas for things you want to change up a little bit for the month of July. And by the way, tomorrow is the official halfway mark of the year. Just so you know, we're halfway through 2024 as of tomorrow. But so on page 9 are July intentions, and we give you 6 possible areas of your life to think about, right? So first of all, remember that you can repurpose, you can rename any of these areas. This is all about you and what you want to set intentions for, right? Yeah, Jennifer, I'm always singing the halfway there song. I should have put that on the on the playlist. But yes, spiritual health, personal life, physical health, key relationships, money management, and professional goals. Those can be easy things for you to use, or you can switch them up. So one of the ways to think about this, right? Some tips and tricks. You can use the theme of curiosity to set your intentions. We have some people who always like to set their intentions to the theme. So they'll say things like, I want to be curious about X, right? Yeah, and India says, can one of my intentions be to actually honor my intentions? Absolutely, right? Or maybe what's happening when you make your intentions, you're not going back and revisiting that, right? And so sometimes it just, again, falls by the wayside. So I would suggest maybe one of your habits or something on your weekly habits, you could list revisit my intentions. And sometimes you might need to change them, and that's okay, right? Maybe you want to focus on an area like self-love or self-talk. Maybe you want to think about songs or lyrics, right? Song lyrics, you could have the halfway there as a lyric on there, right? Maybe you want to think about how you want to feel in this area this month. You want to use stickers or colors or images in these areas, not necessarily words. You can totally do that. Maybe you want to divide it up by one thing you want to let go of and one thing you want to start doing. So have been doing this kind of coming up, you know how each month and even each day it's a national whatever month. So July is National Anti-Boredom Month, which works out quite nicely with this idea of curiosity, right? And I had the little quote there from Dorothy Parker about the cure for boredom is curiosity. There's no cure for curiosity, right? So maybe you want to honor that National Anti-Boredom Month, or it's National Grilling Month, National Peach Month, National Ice Cream Month, right? We've got all these different kinds of national month themes that potentially you could set your intentions around one of those ideas. Let's see. Here's some examples of things that other folks have popped in there, right? Quotes they have kind of the one in the middle has kind of some bullet pointed things, like with money management, they say be mindful about intent and intentional about spending, avoid impulse purchases, like my on clearance stickers. Reduce credit card debt, right? Maybe that's the intention. I haven't set my intentions for July yet, so it's okay that I got some extra clearance printers, stickers. Sometimes it's just a word, or like I like how it says unlocking clarity, inspiring creativity on the one. I think those are stickers. Indy was asking the one on the right, did they print and glue? I think those are stickers, but they could be print. I'm not sure. I think, you know what? I think as I look at those, I bet those are Meg B stickers because they have kind of the little flowers on them. So I think that's what those are, but I'm not 100% sure. So I don't know whose that is. So if it's anyone here, tell us where you got those. I did find the one up in the top left. Someone had just posted on Sonder Club, and they have this really nice, they kind of have it divided, each section divided into a couple different areas. So like for physical health, they have exercise and cook new recipes. They have for key relationships, friendship dates, or friend dates, and patience, breathing, right? Sometimes with some key relationships, we need to show some patience. And then the one in the middle, they did kind of a more/less, right? So they want more of something and less of something. That's kind of a fun way to do it, right? Um, it's okay if you just take pictures if you've already started writing, and then you can always do it next month, right? Then one person uses Post-it notes because they don't necessarily want to commit immediately to something. So they kind of jot those things down as they go. Here's some other fun ones. We have some very talented, beautiful little drawings that people have done in each one of these little sections. Again, changing these categories to fit your life. So you can see people have changed things like professional goals to learnings or learning goals. I know that's one of the things Jennifer does because she's retired. So she says, well, I don't really have, professional goals anymore, but I still want to learn. So I want to make some goals around learning. Maybe you want to change it up, something up to change money management to home and garden management, personal life to creative life. Sometimes I'll call something a crafting life, right? So if I'm painting, maybe I want to do more painting or more with my knitting. Professional goals change to learning goals. Again, different ways to do that. And then the one down in the bottom right, they did kind of a scrapbook style where I think they kind of cut out some little pictures and glued those in. So that's kind of a fun way to do that. And some people have those fun little those little mini color printers where they can print out different things. So you can kind of pop something in there as well. Oops. So there's some ideas for things you want to do. Let us know if you're repurposing any of these areas for something else. Yeah, you can see this one has creative life, the one in the middle, home life, spiritual and mental health. I was trying to see if there were any other ones that people kind of changed up, but yeah, just change it up. And the other thing I want to say is, if you're new, maybe you want to focus on 2 this month. You do not have to fill out all 6. Maybe you want to have a focus on physical health and your professional goals, and you could color in all the rest of them, right? You're not going to focus on those. Again, you could do 3 or you could do 4, but you don't have to do all 6. You could focus on 1, right? It's okay to narrow your time, right? Because sometimes 6 is a little much, but we give these to you as examples, right? So again, play a little bit of music and then we'll check back in and keep moving on. Okay, so thanks for sharing in the chat some of the different ways that you have repurposed different things. I love someone had kind of changed the spiritual health to brain health sometimes, and and that could be things like doing logic puzzles or whatever to kind of keep your brain strong. It could also be maybe eating food that's good for your, brain food, exercising, getting enough sleep, different things like that, really kind of thinking about what we know is good for our brains, right? Um, Lisa changed professional goals to community purpose, where she includes intentions to leave the world a better place, volunteering, random acts of kindness. Community purpose is lovely. I love the idea of maybe like community goals. I have the dubious distinction of being the HOA president this year. And so it's been a bit of a challenge. I was just over at the pool today, kind of cleaning up some stuff that people apparently had had a good time this weekend, and things were a little bit of a mess. So I was cleaning that up, but kind of thinking of the sense of community, and kind of what kinds of things we could do to help us, be a little bit closer as a community. So lots of fun things. Sherry said split key relationships between personal and volunteer position. So love that idea. Again, the creative goal is certainly a good idea. So just lots of different ways to kind of think about that, and think about, again, those intentions. And I highly recommend making a note to yourself. Either it's a habit, and maybe it's a weekly habit, or just a little note somewhere to come back and revisit these on a regular basis, because it will it's easy for you to kind of tend to forget what you wrote, and then you get to the end of the month and you're like, oh, I totally forgot I had set that intention, and I don't think I actually did anything to realize that intention. So there's that little quote about intentions. Intentions are gentler than maybe goals or to-dos, right? They don't imply you've been doing something wrong all this time and now you're determined to be good. They're just these gentle ideas of how we want to be and what kinds of things we want to, our intentions toward different areas of our lives. So let's jump into our mood and habit trackers. So if you turn the page, you've got page 10 and 11, right? And these are just things. I read a really interesting article today. There's a guy who, his name is Steve Cam, and he has a company called Nerd Fitness, which is really kind of a fun. I've been with them for like a really long time. It's been kind of fun to see the evolution over the years, but they do a lot of fitnessy things, but they kind of nerd it up. So it's like Star Wars or video games, or they kind of gamify the idea of healthy eating, healthy movement, those kinds of things. But he had a really interesting newsletter kind of talking about the things that we track, the things that we measure are the things that happen, right? But sometimes we end up measuring things we don't need to measure. So, or we kind of measure the wrong thing for the outcome that we want. So kind of be thinking about like, how do you want to measure for moods on page 10, right? Yes, what gets measured gets managed. So if we're thinking about measuring our moods, it helps us understand trends and how we're feeling, makes us maybe notice, and maybe we can make some shifts if we see things are good or bad. It can help bring tools into what works when positive moods show up for us. And I really appreciated, somebody talked the other day about, they had been tracking, I think, some of their bad moods or some of the things like stressors and those kinds of things. And they realized by tracking them, it was making them focus on them too much. And it was leading to really kind of not a good feeling. So it's kind of like, okay, maybe we don't need to manage that. Maybe we need to measure something else. Maybe we need to measure when we have those glimmers, or maybe we need to measure some of our feelings of joy. So again, that balance of, if I'm measuring this, how am I using that data? How am I using that information to maybe change or to keep things like, oh, I was in a really good mood this week. What did I do this week? Oh, I got lots of extra sleep. I, was eating a lot of fruits and vegetables. I went out for a walk every day. Oh, those things seem to help me feel better, right? So we do have, you will notice if you've been with us for a while, we have two different formats of this. Some months it's a circle, some months it's little hexagons, right? And so the months that have 31 days will get the circle. right? And the months with less than 31 days, so those 30-day months and February, 28 or 29 days, they get the hexagons. So just know that we have people who are team circle and team hexagon. And that is totally fine, but just know that on those months with 31 days, you're going to get a circle. Less than 31 days, you're going to get the hexagon. So we can just maybe find fun ways to switch that up for us as it looks a little bit different each month, right? So you can do things like maybe choosing 2 or 3 negative feelings and 1 neutral, 2 to 3 positive feelings. Maybe you want to focus on the theme of curiosity. Maybe you want to do like a scale of 1 to 6. How curious did I feel? Or how did I use my curiosity, right, during the day? Maybe you want to fill in every emotion that came up that day or fill in whatever emotion was strongest. One of the things I like to do is I take a supplement every day at noon. And so I have a little alarm that goes off at noon. So I started tracking my mood at noon so I could have something that was kind of consistent along that way. So you could do it that way. If I tracked every emotion that came up, I would just have a lot of colors in there, right? So lots of emotions. Maybe you want to use stickers or colored pens or doodles or a pen, to create whatever kind of key that you want. And we have the feelings wheel, right? The feeling different kinds of feelings. So you don't have to stick with the basics of fear, love, anger, sadness, surprise. There's lots of different kinds of feelings. So this can be really helpful. And I'll cycle back through this when I play a little music if you want to find a word that works for you. And so this is the circle, right? And I liked there's another little curious quote, right? Be curious, read widely, try new things. What people call intelligence just boils down to curiosity. And then I have today's good mood is sponsored by coffee and dogs, or it could also be cats. I would say we don't have any dogs. So mine would say today's good mood is sponsored by coffee and cats. But here are some examples of things that folks have done with their moods. So maybe tracking creativity or feeling inspired. Again, look back at your intentions. What were your intentions for the month? And is there something maybe you could track that might help you say like, okay, how is that intention playing out with my moods? Maybe optimistic, happy or joyful, blah, sad, down, worried, stressed, happy, anxious, sentimental, depressed, romantic, crabby, anger, sadness, surprise, joy, love, fear, right? So kind of thinking of that. I know Jennifer just went today to see Inside Out 2, and we were talking about that because I saw it earlier and how much we love it and all the different emotions and all those things. So maybe you want to kind of think of those different emotions to see. Yeah, Jennifer and I were talking about we need to come up with some sort of a social that kind of incorporates some of those ideas, right? Because it's a really good, and the first one is really good too, right? Oh, Maggie said she saw it yesterday. And so but if you decide, you know what, I don't need to track my moods. That's not really anything that I need to see. It's not anything that I need to kind of pay attention to. So here's some ways you can repurpose it. Maybe you want to track daily affirmations, anxiety levels, energy levels on a scale of 1 to 6, a certain feeling. I did mine. I have a rate the day, and I have it going from 1 to 6, with 1 being ugh and 6 being amazing, right? So you could potentially do that. So Bailey, one of our other facilitators, she has used it to track her anxiety levels in the past. So she has the levels of panic, high, moderate, scattered, low, and none. This can be really helpful if you're working with a therapist and bringing this in and showing them the data for the month and kind of seeing what that looked like. Again, you can also maybe correlate sleep or food or different kinds of things to see if there's any correlation with the anxiety levels. You could use it to track blood glucose, right? Any sort of symptoms that you want to keep track of, a book tracker, a workout tracker, a rate the day, an activity tracker, right? Different kinds of things, different ways, that you want to repurpose these this particular tracker. So again, what do you want to monitor this month? What do you want to look at the end of the month and say, oh, this is what my month looked like in that area? Is it your moods? Is it an overall rate the day? What are those things that you want to take a look at? And Jennifer is popping in the link for the feelings wheel, right? That you can use, and I'll also also leave it on this. So we'll check back in. Let us know what you're going to track with this page 10. And then we'll check back in here in just a moment. Okay. So hopefully you've got some ideas for what you want to track. Again, some people are like, I'm just going to stick to the moods. I'm just going to find, 6 moods and kind of keep track of that and maybe fill in like how I felt in the morning, how I felt in the evening. Totally do that. Again, kind of repurposing. I don't think I had an example, but some people track their energy levels, right? Like how, what their energy level looked like for the day, or maybe just upon waking up. Again, think about what do you want at the end of the month to be able to look back at and say, "Oh, this is very interesting." Right? And might help you make some updates or changes, or maybe it helps confirm something, or maybe it helps disconfirm something, right? Like it says, "Nope, you're not actually angry all the time. You think you're angry all the time, but your mood tracker shows something different." So now our last page that we're going to work on here is our habit tracker on page 11. And you can use this page. You can maybe start some, do some new habits, things you want to start. Maybe it's those things you want to stop, right? Those habits that are not serving you. And maybe you want to continue habits that bring you value. So you could use curiosity as your focus, as your, as you're kind of thinking of the habits you want to do. Maybe you want to pick a theme like grounded, calm, joy, delight, or something like that around your habits. Maybe you want to bring those habits over from last month. You don't have to come up with brand new habits every month. If there were some that were working really well, bring them on over, right? Find a balance. Habits you know you can do and ones that are going to be trickier to commit to. And remember, you don't have to fill in every line. So I definitely tell people, if you are kind of new to this, I would recommend not coming up with 7 brand new habits that you want to try this month. It's going to be stressful. It's going to be a little too much. You're going to get a little frustrated, and it's not best practice, right? So think about kind of what you want it to look like. You can also, habits do not have to be huge things. Maybe your habits are around brushing your teeth and flossing. Maybe your habits around taking your supplements. You could put a habit that you're already pretty good at. Like, for example, I make the bed every morning. I'm pretty, it's definitely habituated, right? It's something I just do every morning, even when I'm somewhere else at a hotel, I'm making the bed. Just because it's that thing where I feel like I've accomplished something in the morning. So some months, if I want to have an easy win, I can put that on there. You can see some other people have things like taking their medicine, putting on their makeup and jewelry, right? Maybe that's something that you want to focus on. There was one month where I wanted to kind of focus on wearing earrings every day, right? Or at least Monday through Friday. That's the other thing too. So this is kind of set up to do every day this month, but you don't have to. Right. And so here's some other examples of things that you could put in for the habits, again, that could be easy, right? Like laughing. That could be a pretty easy thing to do if you have some different memes or have some different kind of fun things. Again, maybe it's making your bed, maybe it's picking a song of the day for the month and you listen to that song every morning. You could set that for your alarm, right? Again, these are some different ideas for things that you could do. Here's some other examples of things that people have done. Notice the one on the left, and it is lovely, right? They've kind of got this all filled out, so you could make a really pretty picture at the end. But they have a little gray dot down at the bottom where they say grace for not completing, right? So if you don't complete something, they're just going to kind of color it in for gray, and that's fine. And then the person over here on the right, they have 4 things, right? And that's what they have. And then they did like a pretty little green marker, and it's lovely. So really ask yourself, does this habit still serve me, or am I blindly following an old routine? So is there something that's still serving you, something that you're doing, a habit that you want to keep up, like making the bed definitely still serves me because it always makes me feel like I've accomplished something, even though it's early in the morning, right? So some people will ask, what's the difference between this and the weekly one that we have on each week setup? So these, again, are really something you want to track every day. The weeklies maybe are only something you want to track a few times a week or track for a single week in the month. Maybe that week you have something particular that you want to do and you want to add that on there. And here's just some other examples of things people have done. You can use like the little dots. You can use, have like a pretty kind of key that you're kind of coloring in, different kinds of things that you can kind of work in there. Whoops. So I will let you look at this, right? Work on that. Let us know what habits you might want to track. Again, those things that get measured are the things, that matter, the things we're going to focus on. So what are some things that you want to do this month that you want to track so that you can see at the end of the month how that worked out for you? All right. So again, play a little music. We'll check back in here in just a few moments. right, so how do we do? Did you come up with some things that you want to track, you want to make a habit? Again, maybe some of these things are things that you brought over from last month that you've been doing. And yeah, Jennifer's saying it might be helpful to take the weekends off from the trackers. So maybe you highlight those weekends and you just block them out, right? Because you're like, these are things I need to do Monday through Friday. Not really worried about it on the weekend, so I'm just going to kind of block those out. A great place for some stickers, right? Or something like that. So Sherry said trying to get back into um, having a regular habit. So reviewing intentions is something she's going to do on a daily basis, tracking sleep, tracking energy, creating something, laugh out loud, Duolingo. Yes, lots of us are doing our Duolingo. So I have my Duolingo Spanish streak going. And then take my vitamins, right? Love that. Want to do, Alex is doing 30-minute daily movement, 10 pages reading an audiobook per day. And then so it has some that are the regular habits and then some that are new habits. So daily expense review, take Rise daily, face yoga, daily work wrap. So different, you could have maybe some that are regular that you've been doing, some that you want to add in. Jennifer's tracking her steps and writing the total steps in the box instead of checking off on the following day. Also doing a social connection to text someone. Those are great ideas for doing that. So let's see. Yeah, is anybody, so I'm doing Duolingo for Spanish, but India was asking, is anybody doing Duolingo for French? But they have so many languages in there. So hopefully you've got some ideas for things that you want to put in there, different things that you want to kind of keep track of for the month. And believe it or not, we have come to the end of our time together. I know that always goes so quickly, but I did want to remind everyone to be sure to check out the journal inspirations in Sonder Club for lots of really great ideas for all the sections of your journal. So if you go into the homepage on the app and you scroll down, there's a little journal inspirations. You can click on see all, and it gives you this whole big long list of all the different things. So you can see that there's, mood trackers, something to do with the expense tracker. Cause I know we've had people asking like, I don't need to track my expenses. What can I do with this section? Habit tracker ideas, sleep tracker ideas, gratitude log, coloring pages, like all of these different really amazing places to get some ideas, get some inspirations, right? So make sure that you're checking that out. Also, if you have had a chance to look at we do have our monthly matchy stickers, right? So they match the flowers and the colors, and they're kind of fun. And there's always a bingo, a brain dump, something I'm wondering. There's always kind of fun little stickers that you can add. And then again, the colors that you can do for the habit trackers, you can do for the mood tracker, those kinds of things. And then we do still have our refer a friend promotion going. If you get them to sign up, you get $10. They get $10. You could use the $10 for the stickers. You can upgrade to an annual subscription and save. So that's still going on. You will be getting an email with all of these links in there. But just so that you know, there is the survey that you can fill out. That's how we've really kind of added some different socials in as based on people's feedback. So you can always kind of take a look at that. Let's see. And then Jennifer is also popping all of these links into the chat. So she's got the upcoming events. I am doing the Wheel of Life and I think it's Gratitude Log on Thursday on 4th of July in the evening. So I would love it if you joined us for that. Super fun. That's always a fun one to do. And so you can take a look at that. We've also got, again, that YouTube link. I was trying to see what else is she popping in there. Oh, she had also put in, I don't know if you've seen, Meha had kind of a little email about the new AI, the kind of the Sonder coach that they have, which is a pretty cool program. I've been using it. It's kind of fun. You get a little email every morning that kind of it's based on your profile. Takes a little bit to set up, but it is kind of fun. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out, I know there's been some emails about that. So, check into it. And if you ever have any questions on any of this stuff, always send that email to hello@silkandsonder.com and say, hey, there was somebody talking about the AI thing, but I don't know what she was talking about. And they can give you some more information. So thank you all so much for joining us. Love being able to spend some time with you. Hopefully, you're feeling good about jumping into that week, getting things set up. And hopefully, we will see you again at another social soon. So take care, everyone. Have a great first week of July.
You're like a sunshine, only giving good vibes anytime that you rollin'. Pulling me out, never letting me down, and I wanna make sure you know it. You're like a sunshine, only giving good vibes anytime that you rollin'. Can't believe that I found my sunshine. Hey, everyone's trying to be the same. Till I met you, I was on that wave. But you really are something different. You do you, it must be nice. And I think it's rubbing off on me.